Let's cut off the tree from this background and place it in front of a different background. So first thing what we'll be doing is we will open channels. In case the channels panel is not already open, we can go to window menu, and inside the window menu we can select the option channels, and here in channels we can see red, green, blue channels, and there is also RGB, which is the default one, which is the topmost channel. So what we can understand by these individual channels is whatever channel we have selected, if that color is present on this tree, that is highlighted in white color. For example, we have selected the red channel, so there are some parts of the tree or some parts of the leaves on the tree which are appearing in white. So there is some amount of red in those areas, and there is some darkness on the branches. It is indicating that there is no red color over these branches. And then we will select the green channel. There is a lot of green on the leaves, so that is why all the leaves are highlighted in white, and wherever there is no green, that portion of the tree, that is the branches, are highlighted in black. And then if we select blue, there is no blue at all in the image, so that is why we see a lot of darkness here. The tree is highlighted in black. So we will be selecting the darkest channel, which is blue. So we'll select the blue channel, but we will take a copy of this blue channel because we don't want to spoil the original blue channel. So to take a copy, we simply have to drag this blue channel and drop it on this create new channel icon at the bottom of the channels panel. So here we got a blue copy. Now we will apply some contrast to the image. To apply contrast, we have to open levels adjustment. The shortcut for levels adjustment is ctrl L in PC or command L in Mac. So once we open the levels adjustment, here we can see three sliders. The left slider is to control the shadows or the dark areas of the image. The right slider is to control the highlights or the bright areas of the image, and the center slider is to control the midtones or the gray areas of the image. So we'll just drag the dark slider to the right, and we can also move the right slider, which is the highlight slider, to the left. So now we can clearly see some contrast in the image. So once we have just applied some contrast using the levels dialog or levels adjustment, we can then select this blue channel by holding Ctrl in PC or Command in Mac and clicking on this channel thumbnail. We can see a selection over the tree, and once we got the selection, we will come back to the layers. So here is the layers panel, and at the bottom of the layers panel we can see a mask thumbnail. We just have to click on that mask thumbnail. That's it. And now we have to inverse the mask. To inverse the mask, we simply have to hit Ctrl I in PC or Command I in Mac. Right. So now we can see the background is almost gone, but still there are some issues. So what are those issues? Let's see what are the issues. We just have to create a background below this or behind this tree, a black background. So once we have created a black background, we can see something here. See, there is some disturbance on the edges. So we can see a thin white line that is called fringe. We have to get rid of that fringe. Only then we can perfectly select the tree. So how we can get rid of that tiny thin white lining on the edges of the leaves as well as the branches? So we'll do something. We will select this tree layer, and at the bottom of the layers panel we can find create fill or adjustment layer. We have to create an adjustment layer, and that adjustment layer is color balance. Okay, but before that we'll do something. We will actually select the mask thumbnail for this tree by holding Ctrl in PC or Command in Mac and creating a selection around the tree. And once we see this selection, we have to shrink the selection. To shrink the selection, we need to go to Select menu, and in Select menu we can find Modify, and here we can find Contract, and we just have to contract by 1 pixel. So the selection goes a little bit inside. So once the selection goes a little bit inside, we now have to inverse the selection. To inverse the selection, we simply have to hit Ctrl Shift I in PC or Command Shift I in Mac. So once we have inverted the selection, now it's time for us to apply the color balance adjustment. So now the color balance adjustment will only target the edges of this particular tree, means the white edges that we see here, the fringes. So now what we can do is we'll just click on the color balance adjustment options, the icon to the left of this color balance mask, and here we can see the properties panel, and in the properties panel we can see different colors. Right side we can see red, green, blue. Left side we can see cyan, magenta, yellow. We just have to make these edges little bit green. So we can see the change. Here the edges are becoming green. And we can also control the greenness of the edges. We can reduce that green value. So just by increasing the redness here, so we can see the change. Right. We will do one more thing, that is we will also apply a hue saturation adjustment, and then we will just drag the mask thumbnail which is on the color balance adjustment and drop it on the hue saturation adjustment layers mask thumbnail. Here a message pops up. To replace the layer mask, we will simply click yes. Right. So now we will just control the greenness again by using the hue saturation adjustment. It will only target the edges of this tree. So we can see the change. And here we also have the lightness. We can just slightly reduce the lightness. So now it's perfect. Right. So we have quickly separated the tree from the background. Now what we'll be doing is we'll just do one thing, that is we'll remove this black background and then we will get a different background. So let's get some other image. So here is the image of a forest. So let's drag this forest image and we will just place it behind the tree. And we will also make these hue saturation and color balance adjustments confined to this tree. They are also now changing the colors of the forest. So we don't want the forest to be affected. So what we'll be doing is we'll just select the color balance adjustment. We'll simply hold Alt in PC or Option in Mac and just click in between the color balance layer and the tree layer, and we'll do the same thing for hue saturation. So if not, the hue saturation and color balance are also affecting the forest, right? So now we have separated the tree from the background, and we have composited the tree in a different background, that is a forest background.